Hi guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chris, and if you're watching this, you've most likely seen Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And if you haven't, please click away. This is an explanation video. I will be going into complete detail about the movie, so it will be completely spoiled for you. Go watch the film or check out my spoiler-free review that I'll most likely be doing tomorrow. Link in the description from when that's available. But continuing on, by the end of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, we see Owen and Claire have successfully ended the plans that Mills had for Lockwood Estates to sell the remaining dinosaurs to the highest bidder and most likely weaponizing these animals. However, that's not their final task. They must now decide whether they let the remaining dinosaurs die of a poisonous gas filling up their cages, or open the doors to set them free and finally let the world become Jurassic World. Or in other words, push a button that'll determine a higher or lower Rotten Tomatoes score. Now, I usually don't like recapping the entire movie because I assume if you're watching this video, you've seen the movie and you just want to get to the nitty-gritty of what is going on and what the future could mean for the Jurassic World franchise. But for the sake of explanation, I will go into a little detail of the movie's plot. So we find out that Benjamin Lockwood was an associate of John Hammond of way back in the day before the park was even made. Mr. Lockwood was working with Mr. Hammond to build the genetic species that would eventually become the dinosaurs. I assume that means expediting for the mosquitoes in that maple syrup looking thing, and figuring out how they were going to turn them into living creatures. And years upon years later, when the park has finally gone up in flames again, and in a final attempt to preserve these creatures, Lockwood has decided to take them all to an island where they can be self-sustained and appreciated from a distance. And that's when we're introduced to the character of Eli Mills. Now, he is the head of his estate, controlling all his assets and where they're filtered, being that Mr. Lockwood is not in the healthiest condition as of right now, given his old age. While he agrees to go along with Mr. Lockwood's plan to preserve these animals, he actually has a different thing in mind to make him a lot richer for when Mr. Lockwood dies, and thus turning himself a lot richer. To do this though, he needs the help of Claire and Owen Grady. And we are dragged along with two other characters that really did not need to be there, but were added for the sake of the plot, and maybe representation without clear representation. But this part is all pretty self-explanatory. We don't need to go into much detail. He's trying to sell off these animals because they figured out a way to weaponize them. Wong is working with Mr. Mills, as we come to find out later in the film, and is helping him weaponize these animals, and they've created what they believe is the perfect killing machine, the Indoraptor, which is a terrible name for a dinosaur. I'm pretty sure the Jurassic World community are going to know this raptor to be yellow, given that he has a yellow stripe, and the only other colored raptor is named after his color, blue. At the beginning of the film, we see them go to the island once more to collect the bones of the Indominus Rex. Now, while this is the first thing we see, I don't believe it happens in order. I actually think this is something that happened months before we get to see the characters in this current film. Because looking around that basement of that mansion, we get to see there is a dinosaur being hidden in the shadows that Macey almost has a run-in with. Now, their eventual goal is to weaponize all these dinosaurs, and they want to do that using the Indominus Rex DNA. But like we learned in the first film, it's not a very controllable animal. If anything, it's too smart for its own well-being. And this is why they sent an expedition out to go rescue Blue, their main dinosaur. They could care less about all the other ones, but since they're tasked to collect them all, might as well sell them and earn a couple $1,000,000 bucks along the way. Their main point is to get Blue because we later see he is the most obedient of all the dinosaurs thanks to Owen Grady's training. If they can find a way to take out his blood and somehow make another Indoraptor, this will most likely be a more obedient, dangerous, and trained one, much like Blue is. And unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be a possibility anymore because we see when Blue got shot, it got a blood transfusion infused with T-Rex blood, taking whatever rich blood the raptor had, now completely useless, as Wong was completely shocked when he found out that they went ahead and did that. But the biggest twist that I really enjoyed in the film is the fact that Macey Lockwood is a clone of Benjamin Lockwood's daughter that died years ago in a car accident. Throughout the film, we're given hints that there's this picture that he doesn't want Macey to see. Every time Macey comes nearby, he tries to keep it away until finally he is murdered by Mr. Mills. Macey then finds the photo and realizes it's an identical picture of herself and her maid or guardian, but the maid happens to be decades younger. While looking at this photo, the maid comes to say, "I raised them both." meaning she raised Benjamin Lockwood's daughter originally, then once she died and Mr. Lockwood decided to clone his daughter, also being the reason him and Happen have separated because he does not agree with the idea of cloning living creatures. And this is hinted at that Mr. Lockwood is a believer that all life is precious, given the reason he wanted to preserve the dinosaur lives and his big reason for wanting to save his own daughter's life. Hammond was more about the genetic research, the appreciation, the awe of bringing these dinosaurs to life. While I'm sure he would have been upset about them dying, I think he would have understood that choice and let it happen, much like Ian Malcolm did, or much like Owen did at one point. This was something really interesting and surprising and sort of ballsy that the film had. It also opened the door for a lot more interesting things that could happen. Why haven't we done this before? They have the technology to genetically engineer these dinosaurs to come back to life. Why not do it for your dead relative or your dead child? Of course it's playing God, but if we have the ability to and someone's already done it, why is everyone chasing dinosaur DNA when they really need to be chasing this cloning DNA? You think you'd pay $40 million for a T-Rex? How much would you pay to clone Hitler? Or Stephen Hawking or an Albert Einstein? But in doing that is a future where Jurassic World is no longer about dinosaurs and then about the political rightness of cloning humans. Which is not a direction the film is going to go in any way, shape, or form. It's just really interesting that they brought that subject up. That's my brief explanation for what was going on in Jurassic World. Now what I'm going to do is try to make sense of it, give some theories, give some really things that pissed me off about this movie. I'll start off with the things that made me mad. What a way to end it. I honestly believe if you let those dinosaurs die in a peaceful, magical way, it would have honestly brought the rating score on Rotten Tomatoes and critic rating way up. By pressing that button, by letting them go out in the wild, it just does not make logical sense why you would do that. We can no longer coexist with dinosaurs out there. And maybe that's the plot of the third film and they'll make it work and make it amazing. And I'll eat my words up. As of right now, that's really upsetting to watch. That's really not right. What's going to happen if just one innocent person dies from you letting those dinosaurs out? It was not worth it, and it was not right, and that blood is on your hands, Owen, Claire, and little clone girl. They did the same sort of setup that the last movie did, where you see a bunch of scientists packing up DNA samples into a case, giving you like, ooh, wonder what they're gonna build next, or who's gonna build something next. So you could have had those dinosaurs die, and it would have been a mystery of like, dang, how are they gonna make more dinosaurs? We see they have tons of test tubes with different dinosaur names. They can clearly bring so many of them back to life and weaponize them in a way somehow. Another thing that made me mad was the character Franklin Webb, played by Justice Smith, the guy with glasses. Now, I knew from the trailers that this character was going to be annoying, that he was just going to be a goofball, a scaredy cat, a representation of all the losers who go visit Jurassic Park. And he turned out to be that. He wasn't as annoying as I thought. I enjoyed the character at moments, but he's exactly what I thought to be. Comedic relief, a scaredy cat, a wimp. I honestly believe this role could have gone to Jake Johnson from the first Jurassic World. And it would have made a lot more sense. The thing about these Jurassic World movies, if you're gonna make it a franchise, it's important for you to have reoccurring characters. I mean, you make it apparent with having Ian Malcolm come back for about 5 minutes of screen time, so you can tell it's important to your audience to have reoccurring characters, especially since that character we already have an established liking to. We saw in the last film he was passionate about his job and the previous park because he was wearing that Jurassic Park shirt saying, yeah, I know a bunch of people died, but it was amazing what they were doing in that park and everything it was. He is a representation of the audience who loves the first film, the Jurassic Park from 1993. We also saw that he was a brave character by staying behind when the park had all shut down to do all the tech stuff needed to open gates and tell them where dinosaurs were located. It could have taken some of the weight off having to introduce the new character, build a new character, get you to like him. But who knows, maybe Jake Johnson was busy, maybe they did approach him and he was busy doing tag or some other thing. If that's true, then I apologize for what I'm saying. But if not, I think he would have been perfect for that role. Throughout the film, we get to see the main wildlife expeditionist, the guy who's leading these army members, the sort of older guy. He's going around collecting the teeth of the dinosaurs. And my last theory on that is this. Now, before I go into my theory, of course, it's kind of confirmed that he's collecting this for his own pleasure. When he's doing it for the Indoraptor, he says out loud, this would be a nice collection for my necklace. But I don't believe that was his motivation. He's a guy who only cares about the money. So who's to say he doesn't have a third party that he's working for? Yeah, I'll work for Lockwood Estates, I'll get these creatures, I'll hunt them for you, but I have this other company on the side who's also paying me big money to get this DNA samples from all these dinosaurs and give it to them. I don't believe it was for a necklace. I strongly believe that he was collecting those teeth and to sell them to a third party that will yet to be disclosed in the third Jurassic World. Obviously, he won't be able to do that, but it could be revealed that there was another interested party. Another reason I believe that is because Wong himself, when they're trying to sell the Indoraptor, he is against it. He's like, what are you doing? This is a prototype. You can't sell him. He's not ready to go out yet. Mills points out, who cares? It's worth a lot of money. We can always make another one. Wu then says, yes, and so will they. Which makes it apparent that other countries and people are coming extremely close to this cloning DNA. And if they get their hands on an incomplete raptor and try to clone it off that, you're gonna create something you can't control, that comes out bigger, that comes out nastier, and who's it meant to hunt? Who knows who else. And last final thought I'm gonna give is I really liked that ending shot of the island when the boat is going away and everyone is looking at it and you see that final dinosaur start to burn up and cry for its life. I believe that this is the movie telling the audience this is the last time this franchise is gonna go to the park. We've heard your complaints, we've heard your grumps. Why do they keep going back to the park? Why do they go to the park? They know what's gonna happen. And so I believe by them destroying everything left on the park is the movie telling us say goodbye to the park, because the park is no longer where Jurassic World will live. It'll be your home turf that is the island from now on. So the next film is gonna handle the political repercussions of how we coexist. Owen will probably start some sort of police, animal control firm that deals with these creatures and how we live with them. Other people will again try to kidnap them and weaponize them. It's just such a broad open spectrum of what could happen, but my only thing is when one person dies, America's automatically gonna go, okay, we couldn't do this. Kill them all. But those are just my thoughts on Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Let me know what your explanations are. If you have any theories about the film, if you have any questions, please let me know down below. I'd be happy to discuss with you. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell, guys, if you want to be notified. I mainly do reviews, but you guys are seeming to like these explanation videos, so if you want me to do more of these, just let me know. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.